and welcome to Ensemble Conversations with me, Mark Kilmurray. This morning we have Garth Holcombe and Jamie Oxenbould to talk about The Woman in Black. Jamie and Garth, hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Hello, good to be here.
How's isolation treating you, Garth? How are you finding it?
Oh, to be honest with you, it's happened so slowly and so fast. It's like I blinked and fell asleep, and here we are, kind of 3 months later.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, it's been a difficult period for everybody. I think I'm in an okay position. So I've just been very lucky, really, to be able to have somewhere to isolate to, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. Jamie?
I kind of feel like being in isolation is just like being an actor anyway. We spend so much of our time sort of unemployed and having to self-motivate ourselves and being at home.
Yeah.
That for me, it honestly has been just like another normal period in my career where I've just been at home a lot and concentrating on little projects, side projects that I've been wanting to do. And I do a lot of voiceover work, and I can still do voiceovers from home. So it hasn't kind of hugely affected my life, to be honest.
And some actors have seen it as a chance to do their own personal projects, writing or whatever that may be. And others have felt like they've just completely wasted the whole time and done nothing. But I guess that's okay too, because a pause and a rest, as long as you can feed yourselves and pay the rent or mortgage or whatever, that's not terrible.
It's not the worst thing that has ever happened. Yeah, certainly. I mean, I've just spent a lot of time with my partner and my son, and we've just been at home a lot, just sort of watching great TV and trying to eat well.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of eating for a lot of us, I think, across this period. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been practicing the ukulele with my son, Oscar, and I just have it here. No, I don't. But the idea of having the time to do those sort of things has been very appealing, actually, and quite satisfying.
I think there's also been, from a lot of people I've spoken to, they've felt a bit of pressure to get stuff done. They're like, okay, now's my time. I've got to write my memoir or the great play that I've always wanted to write. So there's been a bit of pressure on people too to kind of come up with something artistic and meaningful in this period of time. So we'll see what happens after this period and see what's out there in the world.
Now, both of you and myself should be in a rehearsal room near at some point doing The Woman in Black, a beautiful adaptation from Susan Hill's book. Garth, why do we like being scared, do you think? Why are these plays appealing?
Ooh, why are these plays appealing? Yes, why do we like being scared? I just think it's a good old thrill of the unknown. I feel like as we like to be pushed to the edge, we like to be kind of roughed around a little bit and shaken. And I think in the theatre, the power of that, and particularly with this play, does exactly that. It just shifts us off centre a little bit and makes us uncomfortable. And I think that's really valuable in life. That's why we get a thrill out of it.
And unusual that it's a stage play that does that, Jamie, rather than a film, because films we're used to going to the cinema and seeing a scary movie, but stage is less so.
I know there's very few. There's The Woman in Black, which has been running forever in London. There's another play called Ghost Stories, which I think is on, was on recently, where there are people standing on stage telling scary stories. But yeah, it's a rarity in the theatre, which is strange because, as you said, the idea of telling a scary story has been around for forever. Obviously, sitting around a campfire and telling scary ghost stories is one of the great delights that we have, that I had anyway, growing up. So it's surprising that there aren't more plays that deal in the spooky.
Yes, because as you say, A Woman in Black has been running for a long, long time on the West End, and worldwide has been hugely successful. Garth, you were saying about resenting being scared. There's different types of being scared, and I agree with you. Just say what that was. We were talking the other day.
We were having a chat about. I get quite angry when I get spooked by anything, particularly loud noises. my first defense mechanism is to get angry. So yeah, I've sat in the theater a couple of times, or the movie theater, on my own, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why would I do this to myself?
Yes.
And then I get angry at the theater makers or at the filmmakers for making me feel so. It's just vulnerable. I think that's exactly what it is.
And I think the difference is that sort of quiet bang film idea of terrifying you, I resent, because they're building up to a head jumping out of a window and you jump out your skin. Whereas with The Woman in Black, it's a ghostly creepiness that I love. And that's the sort of mature ghost story, if you like.
Yeah, it's just feeling off center. Was that what you just said, Garth? It's just feeling slightly off center, and there's a kind of there's a coldness to The Woman in Black, and then really it's all about the geography of where you are, and we're out on the marshes, and it's cold and it's rainy and obviously very dark.
And Jamie,
and that's what I like more too. I don't like that feeling of being manipulated either, of jump scares, even though there are a few in The Woman in Black.
There are. And well, without giving anything away, Jamie, maybe just explain how clever this adaptation is from the novel.
Well, it's clever because it's a story within a story. So it's about an actor. It's about a man who it's so hard not to give it away. Yeah. It's about a man who has been cursed by a story, and he wants to purge himself of the curse by retelling that story. So he approaches an actor to reenact the story. So it's a reenactment of the story. Look, it's basically storytelling. It's two people standing on stage playing different characters and retelling this man's curse or ghost story. So it's very clever in that. That's the cleverness of it. That's how he's decided to adapt the novel, which I think is brilliant. Because I haven't seen the movie, but I believe the movie version of it is just a straight telling of this story.
Yes, well, there are two versions. There's a television film a few years ago, and then there was the recent Hammer Films remaking it with Harry Potter, which is apparently quite scary and creepy. I was going to watch that when I was on my own one weekend, and I decided not to because I was on my own. What are the challenges, Garth, of staging this story?
Oh, I think without the CGI of films, without the any of the big, kind of technical elements that films have, the theatre actually, it is very challenging to just use the very basic storytelling elements. As Jamie said, actors on the stage, the lighting is going to play an incredibly important role in this production, as well as sound. So lighting, sound, and the actors in the space. And then using the text, which is just the most beautiful text to speak. So really the challenges are actually what make it one of the most beautiful plays to perform, and one of the most beautiful plays in the theatre, I think.
The dialogue and the story too, it's very clever, but it's also very funny. I remember when I saw it with its original production, laughing a lot, and also laughing because I was creeped out. There's that element to it too. You're sort of on the edge of your seat, but you quite enjoy being on the edge of your seat. Yeah,
laughter's like such a natural response for fear. It's like you do laugh when you're scared, and it is very funny. And for me, the challenge of it and the joy of it is creating the story inside really the whole story happens inside the audience's head, and what we're doing, we're just making this story, but the story is purely happening inside the audience's head. So if we can do that, if people can walk out having felt like they've visited those moors and those marshes and that house and that graveyard, and had the experience that the character that Arthur Kipps had, then I think people will be scared and delighted at the same time, because there is a delight in being being afraid.
Being afraid. And
yeah.
I think, as you say, Garth, in film you can have that edit, that quick edit, and that musical, like a piano falling down the stairs moment sound that makes you jump. We have the wonderful Michael Walters doing our sound for us, and Trudy Dalglish doing the lighting, and Hugh O'Connor doing our set, which is fabulous because those elements are almost other characters on the stage with the two of you.
That's exactly it. So we're going to be working hand in hand with all of us, really, to tell the story. I also feel, from my character, that it's a story of a person who learns something and opens up the world that he thought he knew. And I find that story really interesting too. He thinks he knows the world in the way that he lives, and it really cracks his life apart. And he's forever, without giving too much away, he's quite changed by it. Yes. And I think that story is really fascinating too.
And set in the theatre. The beauty is it's set in a Victorian theatre, and we have this very intimate space at the ensemble. That works really well for that close proximity with the acting and the audience.
Yeah. And what Trudy was saying the other day about the lighting I think was really spot on too. That it's more what we don't see, and because the ensemble is a great little dark kind of funny little angled space, that it's got a skew-ifness in the dark that is kind of perfect for this. For this, and you're only going to pinpoint out tiny little areas and just see tiny little portions of the actors or a space or a prop or a simple because like you said, it's a really simple set. Well, there's no set, it's set on an empty stage, which in itself is spooky.
Indeed.
I think definitely the ensemble is the place for it. I really think the theatre space and the audience space is just the perfect theatre for this show. It's so intimate, and I feel like the audience, everyone who's been to the ensemble will know you can get so close and so up with the actors, but there's a grand sense of wholeness around that theatre. So we're going to trap you all in.
Indeed.
into the space.
And Garth, you were here last with us with Tribes, and again with that idea of it being so intimate and a beautiful play. How did you find that when you were first performing at the ensemble?
Yeah. Well, I'd obviously been to the ensemble and seen many, many shows. So the first time I stepped in was with Tribes in 2016. And it was wonderful. It's so wonderful having the audience so close. You see everything. You see people in the first second. Oh, there we go. There's a photo. It is really beautifully intimate. And in terms of all the theatres in Sydney, you just feel like the audience is there with you. They're hanging on the story. They're so eager. You feel like it's the audience's home, and that you're a guest. When you walk into that space, you feel like a guest in their home, and so it's such an honour to tell a story on that stage.
And Jamie, this will be your 14th production. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
But it is.
No,
yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, so 14. And we've worked together over the years a lot. What is it? Is that the same for you when you come to the ensemble? It feels like that home, a great way of putting it, Garth, that home in people's home?
It does. It feels like home to me because I've done so many shows there and, I feel so comfortable there. But it's people have a very, a lot of the theatres in Sydney have the same thing, but people have a real loyalty and a propriety over the theatre, which I love, and the ensemble audiences feel so at home there that they can walk on the stage and that they can they can touch the props and things like that because it's a bit racy.
Yes, I don't know what that's from.
That's
chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, yeah.
And in fact, a lot of the shows that I've done there, like Cabby, like that photo that we're looking at, and my one-man play, Spear Carrier, and the other one-man shows that I've done, and this one, Cow Jumped Over the Moon. They are very, and a lot of the stuff that I've done there, now that I think about it, is very heavily relying on basic storytelling, on not playing a character, but but talking to the audience and bringing the audience in. And it's such a great intimate space to do that.
Yes.
I think that's what I love the most about being at, because you can see, most of the faces in the crowd, and you can hear every response from people, and ensemble audiences are so responsive. Those gasps and those comments that people sometimes make is, some people don't like, but I love being in a group of people and just telling a story to them and having them respond to it, and at the end being able to speak to them in the bar afterwards and see them in the bar afterwards. All that stuff, I think, is what makes the ensemble so unique, so perfect, and so perfect for this play too.
I was talking to Hugh Higginson and Hannah Waterman last week, and they were saying that on a Pros Arch stage, there isn't really an audience close to you. There's no exchange, and there's also a delay in sometimes laughter. So it's an experience of being sort of in a vacuum. Whereas here, as you say, it's immediate. Yeah,
you're surrounded you're surrounded. It's like being, it's like Custer's Last Stand or something. You really are. There's no escape. Like this, and like the stage just. Like recently I just did a play at the Griffin, which again is, you're surrounded by an audience. And then we moved to a Pros Arts. We went on tour down to Canberra to a bigger theatre. And it's amazing how empty the play felt, moving to a Pros Arts where you're just looking out into the darkness and empty space. There's, like you said, there's that delay, but there's just not the energy of being surrounded. That little thrust at the ensemble is just a dream for me to work on.
Yes.
And I think you also, I was going to say, you also feel like, to the left of you, to the right of you, in front of you, you have the opportunity of making a direct relationship with people by looking out into the audience, making eye contact, seeing them. If you're doing direct address work, you go, okay, here's my right, here is this group, here is this group, here is this group, here.
Yeah.
Let's tell this story now, right now, in this moment. And it's a lovely, intimate feeling.
Which works perfectly, as you say, for The Woman in Black. We have an extract from the play, I believe.
We do have a little extract.
Can you set that up for us, Garth, perhaps?
Sure. Okay, so this is the beginning of Act 2. My character has gone through a fair bit. A little bit self-explanatory, but essentially Kipps, I'm now playing the role of Kipps, and he returns to the man who's helping him out in the town of Crith and Gifford. So he's experienced a few things at the house, gone home, decided potentially he's going to go back to London, but then he decides not to, and he decides he might just need a little bit of help. And he meets Jerome, played by Jamie.
I'm afraid I can't offer you help, Mr. Kipps. Oh, no.
I wasn't thinking that you would do anything personally, but perhaps you have a young assistant.
There is no one. I am quite on my own. I cannot give you any help at all.
Well then, help me to find someone. Surely the town will yield me a young man with a modicum of intelligence and keen to earn a few pounds, whom I may take on for the job.
I'm sorry, this is a small place. Young people leave. There are no openings.
But I'm offering an opening, albeit temporary.
You will find no one suitable.
Mr. Jerome, what you mean is not that there is no one available, that no young person or older person for that matter can be found. You are backing away from speaking the truth of the matter, which is that I should not find a soul willing to spend any time out at Ilmarsh House, for fear of the stories about that place proving true, for fear of encountering what I have already encountered.
Ketwick came back for you.
Yes. I was more grateful than I can say.
There's nothing Ketwick doesn't know about Ilmarsh House.
Do I take it he fetched and carried sometimes for Mrs. Drablow?
She saw no one else.
not another living soul.
There are stories, tales. There's all that nonsense. You can discount most of it.
Of course, but not all.
You saw that woman in the churchyard.
I saw her again in that old burial ground. Well, I'm not going to be put out by a ghost or several ghosts, Mr. Jerome. My work has to be done. And I doubt if the woman in black can have any animosity towards me. I wonder who she was. Is. I hardly know how to refer to her. I must face it out, Mr. Jerome. Such things one must face.
So I said. So I said. Once.
There we are.
Fantastic.
Spooky.
Well
Little
done,
bit
yes.
of gypsy drum.
It's definitely one of those. That's funny. That pub wasn't there before. One of those, leading you into the ghost story. Fantastic. Well done, both. Thank you. And that's beautiful extract too, without giving anything away.
That was the hard bit, trying to find some bit that didn't give the plot away. Not that, I mean, there isn't a huge plot, but there's you want there to be, there's surprises.
There's surprises. There are surprises. Yeah. I can't wait to be in rehearsal room with you both to explore this territory more. Thank you very much for joining me this morning and talking about The Woman in Black. Hopefully we'll be doing it very soon. Well, it'll be next year. Hopefully it'll be next year, and we'll be opening this September, we hope to, with the doors open at the Ensemble Theatre. But again, thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you, Garth. Thank you, Jamie.
A pleasure. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Good to see
Can't
you.
wait to be on stage,
Thanks.
scaring the audience.
Yes, indeed. Take care. Keep safe.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye-bye.
both soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was lovely, Jamie and Garth doing an extract there, a beautiful extract of The Woman in Black. It's a terrific play. It's very creepy, and it's wonderful fun too. So hopefully I'll see you there when we do that next year. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be back with some more exciting guests next week. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support, and thank you for your love of the Ensemble Theatre. Bye-bye.